Every day, people like you and me witness paranormal activity. Many people suffer alone, afraid of telling their stories. Their encounters remain locked away, like skeletons tapping lightly on a closet door. Join me, Blake Lewis, as we peel back the veil of our reality, searching through silence. Good evening, children of the night. I am joined here by the maleficent, mystical Madam Alicia Jones.
Hello, hello. How we feeling?
I actually am feeling very, very, on edge. I can't wait to actually sit here and talk about this, because this is a series, these two movies, these remakes, and if anyone listened to our last podcast, they know that we are speaking directly about It and It Chapter 2.
Mm-hmm.
We have been dying to talk about this since we ended up seeing both of these movies, so now I'm excited. So without any further ado, I do want to warn all of you, though, that this is going to be a fucking good one. So if you got no popcorn, snacks, no blanket, if you're not covered up with a fucking blanket right now and you're listening to this shit, how dare you? Get comfy. You're going to enjoy this shit. Let's do this.
Okay.
So we'll go with the first rendition of the remake.
Okay.
And we'll start with it.
The first one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Makes sense.
So, bam. Movie starts. Opening scene. It's a stormy day.
Uh-huh. Oh, it starts with Georgie and Bill, right? Okay.
What are your overall impressions on how they remade that scene compared to how the first adaptation for television was, the Stephen King's rendition?
I haven't seen that whole full Stephen King's It, so I don't have much to compare it to. But I have seen, the supposed trailer, which was really just the opening scene. And, I mean, it was pretty spot on. With each breakdown of the characters, how they talked, him going into the basement and him going outside. It was filmed very well. I think the whole... Oh, man, Pennywise in the freaking sewer, dude. It's scary.
Yeah.
And
now, I want to say right out the gate, too, that the kids that they casted for this movie even look so much the part of the original rendition of Stephen King's It, the television version.
Really?
They did a good job of casting even to those kids.
Okay.
So, and we do know, now that we've seen both movies, that the children that they chose, they are great actors.
Totally.
Really great actors.
Yeah.
But
it didn't feel childish, you know?
Yeah. I find myself, though, anytime I watch any movie that has kids in it, that I always think that kids are easily good actors. I don't know why. Adults will fuck everything up at times. Children will always seem to me as good actors as long as you just allow them to be children.
Well, yes and no, though, because some children, and I'm not trying to hate on children acting, okay, let me say that first of all, but some of them just seem so aloof and, just not completely, focused on the role. They're just oh, I have this line and I gotta say it. It doesn't feel like they're in it all the way. But these children, it's like they committed to the role. They were there. They were focused.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It didn't seem like aloof. So not all the time, but yeah.
Yeah. Even Georgie.
Yeah.
The kid that they got to play Georgie. God, he was so fucking cute.
He was. Oh my gosh, he was adorable.
Yeah. So, watching him run, and automatically, because I've seen the other ones, knowing that this kid's about to get eaten.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
breaks your
damn. One of the good actors is going to be gone.
But even towards the end, too, when Pennywise was trying to trick Bill with Georgie. Oh, fuck, was that the second one? Oh, this is going to happen now. I'm going to be like, which movie was it? But he was trying to convince him that he still loved him, and the boat was a he, and that's when he called on that it wasn't him.
But believe it or not, you're just jumping way ahead, but that was in the first movie.
But that was his other scene.
Yeah.
He wasn't shown otherwise.
Yeah. Well, he was shown a couple of times when he was down in the basement. He's like...
No, that was the second one.
I'm okay.
Right? This is going to happen.
Yeah.
But
you just get lost in both of them.
They show old scenes. Well, no. Rephrase that. They show more scenes that would have happened in the first movie, and they put them in the second movie.
Yeah,
so
true.
You know, which I love that they do that, because it brings you back to flashbacks, even so, watching them as adults.
Man, and back to just that first scene, though. When in the first one, he hits his head on the first thing. On the first caution board.
Oh, yeah.
And then in the remake, he ducks under it.
Nuh-uh. He gets hit.
He ducks under the first one and then rocks his head on the second one. So it's like they almost portray like this is a remake.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There was a little difference in it, and they did it intentionally.
That was cool.
And I'm sitting there going, oh, fuck, here we go. The boat goes down into the sewer, and then Bill Skarsgård's fucking Pennywise makes its first debut. And the first time I saw this movie, and he comes popping up, and you just see the eyes, I was like, damn. That is an evil looking fucking man. I loved it. I loved the whole look of how they redid it in this movie compared to the original one. The original one to me was just far too hokey.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, of course, it played on my emotions a little bit more because I was a little kid.
Right.
It held so much more weight.
Yeah, in my opinion, he was freaking terrifying looking. Like, his teeth.
Yeah.
Like, that was way different than the
buck teeth.
Yeah. And the drooling. Did they have that in the original? Like, that drooling aspect? Like, he was starving for the kid.
Not like that. Like, yeah.
Yo, like, that was freaky.
And Bill Skarsgård, he can do that fucking weird eyeball thing.
Yeah, where one is like, crooked? Yeah.
Yes. I love it.
So talented.
He's
so talented.
I also like how the music sounded anytime he would get caught, almost like a robot. He would just stop and be completely out of sorts with acting, and then you would hear like the orchestral strings in the background,
Yeah.
You're like, fuck, when's he gonna move? Then he would fucking, hiya, Georgie. Just kick right into the fucking thing again. You're like, oh my God, okay, here we go. So, I love how he portrayed Pennywise.
Agreed.
Now, again, that kid is so fucking cute. I was miserable when I saw him latch into his arm with those ferocious teeth.
That is scary too. The whole like opening the mouth and seeing freaking 5 sets of teeth. Like, holy shit, yo.
Yeah,
that's terrifying.
His jaw, like, unhinged,
Yeah.
like a cobra or some shit.
Fuck.
Yeah. And then that
You know-
creepy-ass woman across the street with the black cat.
Oh,
or,
yeah.
no, with just I'm
a
not
cat.
even sure if it was a black cat, but even the cat was looking like, oh, shit. Mom, if you would have seen what I just seen. So,
Man,
Georgie's gone.
he is.
Now, the movie then gets more in depth. Obviously, you start to wind down and see who all these kids are.
Right.
And, I mean, I think that they did a great job of still making it to that Bill was so obsessive with the fact of believing that Georgie was alive that he was setting up all those little trinkets and shit in his garage and took his dad's map and he was trying to show his fucking dad that the body could have flushed out to a different part of the river.
Yeah.
And not the part that they searched, and Georgie's body might still be there.
Yeah.
And you see that the family had completely given up hope, that it washed out of their mind, because in that town, for whatever reason, everyone just accepts death.
Exactly.
After all their children just keep going missing.
And that's what made the story, though. Like, without that, there would be no story. Like, he is that key factor to the whole entire plot. Just that hope in general.
Now, it never really plays into it in the movies, but I do believe that all of the family members and any of the adults who lived there also slightly dealt with the fact of knowing that Pennywise was essentially in that town.
They knew something was loose.
Because there were a shitload of rash sightings that Ben went into the town library and found out that there were a shitload of newspaper articles showing all of the sightings that had taken place over the course of however many years. And it always happens on a certain time frame, the 27 years. So even Bill's father potentially knew that Pennywise got him. But it just never dove into it.
Right. Because, I mean, they had a certain time frame of the movie, and probably isn't the most important thing.
Yeah.
Did they go into that in the book?
I'm not sure. Myself, I didn't read the actual novel.
No worries. The part where he's flipping through the pages, though, and then the photograph of Pennywise in the actual fucking picture, that was freaky. No, was that in the first one?
Oh, yeah, where it showed him in the fucking courtroom.
Yeah, in the courtroom, and he's just like,
yeah, so it's
devilish.
Like even the artist who back then drew that picture was intentionally putting Pennywise in their artwork because they knew that it was part of that town.
Yeah, I'm sure he was feeding off of all of the adults' fears, too. Like, there was no way anyone was going to kill him, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I love how after they go back to Ben's house, they figured out that the sewage system all led back to Hell House, that one broken down, haunted looking house.
Yeah.
And that haunted looking house was the way that they had to get down into the sewer to see Pennywise. Like, that was his lair.
Was that Ben's house? Because that was the scene with the projector, wasn't it? When they had the map on the projector. And that's when Pennywise started fucking with them and putting all those pictures in there. And then I think it was Stanley went up and it was like, no, fuck this, and grabbed the map. And I think Richie was like, put it back up. And
No. It was Bill, because I think it was Bill who was manning it, and it was Bill's house, even though, you know, Bill's dad already said, you touch my shit.
Yeah.
You better fucking ask.
And Pennywise messing with him there?
Yeah.
That's when they were all like, holy shit, this is real, we gotta do something.
Yeah, because initially up to that point, they all thought they were hallucinating. They weren't really, like, trying to bring it up to each other, and that was the first time that the whole group was together.
Saw them all.
And then Pennywise comes out as, like, a fucking 10-foot Pennywise
like,
who's crawling out of the wall. while it's doing all of the lights flashing, almost giving you a fucking seizure.
I know. I hate those types of scenes. I really hate flashing lights in movies, but regardless.
Man, you would not be good on Halloween going into lights with, like, strobe lights and haunted houses and shit. I really don't like strobe lights.
I really don't.
I'm gonna dress up as Pennywise and put you into a strobe light house.
I'll dress up as Georgie.
Like, hey, little girl. Don't you want to play with me?
Oh, man.
But I do like when they all mustered up the courage toward the end of that movie and they were like, you know what, it's time.
Right. They were sick of it.
Well, it was Bill. He was the one that was just like, I'm through with running. Like, this has got to stop. They were all arguing. I remember it showed, like, how they split up for the time being.
Because they went back twice. The first time they all failed.
Yeah. Now, the first time is when you began to see Pennywise and his magic trying to take on all of them all at one time.
Yeah.
Him trying to make them fear. And trying to split them apart so that they can attack them one by one. Because when they were together, they were far too strong for him. And he even knew it right out the gate.
Exactly.
So he separated them all. And even with Richie, fucking with Richie as soon as he entered, giving him the missing sign.
Oh, yeah, right.
Telling Richie, like, you're the next one.
Yeah.
You gonna be missing.
Yeah, and Bill is really that one that keeps them all grounded. He's always like, no, guys, stop. It's not real. Come back to your senses. Like, he's such an important character. It's crazy.
The three of them are going deeper into the house.
Yeah.
And Eddie kind of slacks off. And then he's way left behind. And then the doors close between them. And then the floor gives out underneath of him.
Yeah.
His fear, the creature guy, has the pill on his tongue, grabs him on the shoulder, and he falls backward.
Yep.
Breaks his fucking arm. And then Pennywise comes crawling out of the fucking refrigerator. Yo, that
really got my nerves, like, tingling when I saw that. I'm like, oh, shit, yo. He's unfolding before our eyes.
Time to float.
Oh my gosh, man. It was so good. You know, one thing I didn't understand or didn't really like, why wasn't Beverly in that? Like, she was one of the strongest ones, or the one that didn't fear it the most. Yeah. And she wasn't in the house with them. She was outside for some reason. And then all of a sudden, she appeared to help them.
Because the boys wanted to go in, and two people had to be left behind.
Mike and Stanley.
Yeah.
But Beverly...
But they basically forced Bev to stay out because she was a girl and they were trying to do the right thing and then just be the men.
Yeah, I guess.
Then she had one of the fence posts.
Yeah, bro, she fucked him up.
Yeah, but prior to that, how it was tormenting Eddie. He was about to bite his arm.
Yo, I was dying. That shit was funny.
Yeah, that shit would scare the hell out of me in real life, though. If a clown's about to bite my forearm.
And meanwhile, that's when Mike and Bill were upstairs with the doors, trying to face their fears.
Well, no, they were across the hall.
Well, wherever, yeah. And
they were presented with the three options. Yeah. Not that scary, kind of scary, very scary. Yeah. They open the not that scary and they find a missing girl with her torso ripped off.
Yeah.
They slam the door and then Bill's trying to calm him down.
Mike, yeah.
Yeah, and he's telling Mike, he's like, this is not real. So they open it up and Pennywise, as he's about to eat Eddie, friggin' feels the fact that his power went down a little bit because Bill is beginning to not be afraid of him.
Exactly.
And then when they stormed into the room, he's looking at Bill like, this isn't real enough for you, Billy. I'm not real enough for you. It was real enough for Georgie. Starts laughing at him, charges at him, and the fucking Beverly runs out of nowhere and stabs him right through his fucking head, through his eye.
Oh my gosh.
That shit hurt. I felt for him.
No, I didn't.
I did. I guess that's the evil.
That thing's fucking evil.
That's the evil in me, feeling for him. Okay?
That's not evil. That's pure love there, but...
I love Pennywise.
Oh my gosh.
And then...
That was one of my favorite lines.
Yo, his hand grows like a fucking werewolf.
Yeah.
And then he turns and slices the shit out of Ben's big-ass stomach. I felt so bad for him. Why is he always got to get carved into?
Say that.
First Bowers has got to carve an H fucking into him, and now Pennywise wants to fucking carve his gut away. I feel bad.
Yeah, I did too. Overall, amazing scene, though.
He kept trying to come back at them and put a little fear in them, but they kept stepping forward, and he kept losing more and more power, and he understood. So he backed out of the room, and then he slipped down into the well because Bill chased after him.
Followed him in the basement.
Saw that he went down into the well, and he now understood the fact that they had to go down into that well.
Yep.
They want to go grab Eddie, make sure everything with Eddie is okay. And then Eddie's mom ends up getting called. It's like they jumped to Bill's house or whomever's house they were at.
Right,
and the mom's all snapping out at them.
Now that...
Takes her child back, and then all of them are in that circle. That's when the first breakup happens.
That's when it starts to break down. Yep.
Yeah.
And that's when they go their separate ways. And then that's where the second movie picks up. With those scenes, when they split up and went their separate ways, it shows what they were going through without each other.
Yeah. I felt really bad for Richie getting decked in the face by Bill, though.
Oh, yeah. That was so unnecessary.
Well, he said your brother's dead.
I mean,
you just gotta face it. Your brother's dead. And he's like, you take that shit back. And he said, no. And he said, boom. Bitch went down.
Violence is never the answer, though. Come on. We know this, Blake.
I'm sorry.
No, I know. So now that they are all alone, all ignoring each other, not being friends anymore.
Yeah, they disbanded the Losers Club.
They did, unfortunately. Going to Beverly, and man, that hit my heart. The way her family home.
I think the whole scenario with her father basically raping her. Mm-hmm. They didn't dive heavily into the movies, which was good. But yeah, that kind of makes
me queasy.
Yeah,
I don't like that kind of content. But thankfully, they didn't go into that.
Yeah, they started showing it like maybe after he found out the fact that she had the postcard from one of the guys and that he was hearing shit around and she was hanging out with the guys. He wanted to teach her a lesson, and then he fucking was like trying to throw her to the floor and start to pull back his pants and shit. And she kicked him in the face.
And then she retreats back into the bathroom.
Yeah.
Ooh, and then he kicks down the door. She freaking swings so hard after he swung the curtain past. And then,
yeah. I forgot that she was hiding behind the curtain.
Yeah, she was hiding in the tub. Smashes him. He goes unconscious. She goes to run out the door.
Fucking back of the porcelain. Then she starts to back up and turn around and finds Pennywise standing right in front of her, and he snags her by her fucking throat.
That was a jump scare, too. I actually jumped during that because it was such a quick, flash of him.
And I don't think anybody was ready for him to appear at that
point.
I wasn't. Even on, rewatches, I forget that part happens right there. That's a good jump scare.
It is a good jump scare.
Good placement.
Definitely.
So then Bill then comes back into the picture, and he's trying to go see where
Beverly is
in general,
Yeah.
and then finds the father knocked out in the bathroom, and then blood written up on the wall.
I forget what it said. But he knew that it was Pennywise.
You'll die if you try.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So he knew it was Pennywise who took her.
Yeah. And then he ends up going back and contacting Richie first.
Mm-hmm.
And you can just see the awkwardness between it. But then if you rush it all together, he tells him straight up, it got Beverly.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the driving force that gets the Losers Club back together, because they know now that they have to go down into his well layer to try to save her.
Right.
Yeah.
Because she is a close friend now. You can't just let it take her.
Yeah. Especially with Bill at the moment. That was like a love interest.
Yeah.
And Ben as well.
Yo, when Ben grabs her down and kisses her, everyone was like, huh.
Oh, yeah.
Ben, you crazy. He was like, it's my one opportunity.
Yeah. But now,
and it worked.
I love prior to that when Beverly fucking it is trying to frighten her with the dance. It pops open the door and it's dancing, and he is doing his little clown leg kicks to that music, and she bolts off to the side trying to escape, and he dives out laughing, grabs her by her fucking neck, and he's lifting her up and just
and he wasn't scared. She wasn't scared.
Yeah, I know. And then he smells her like he's so fucking frustrated because he can tell that she isn't yet, and he's like, you will be. Opens his mouth, gaping open. You see them piranha teeth and the 3 deadlights floating down inside of the back of his throat.
Yeah.
And that paralyzes her.
Yeah.
And then the paranormal aspect takes over even more so. She begins to float.
Yeah.
Because they all float down here.
That's nuts. And that was the true form of the demon.
Now,
the deadlights.
After they all go through their crazy shit, Bill is down there. They're all facing their own little activity. When he sees but Georgie. I think the biggest thing to talk about is the second time.
Yeah, because he's following Georgie. He saw Beverly first and was like, I'll come back for you. Follows Georgie. Because I said that at that point, he still believed that Georgie was alive.
Yeah.
And the moment that he realized he wasn't was when Georgie called the boat a he instead of a she.
Or it.
Or, no, I think it was
No, he said, I lost it. And then he said, she, Georgie. You call boats she.
Right.
And it was the second time that he had to teach him the same lesson.
Yep.
And that is exactly when he knew that his brother was gone. So he took that last shot.
Yeah, man. Mustering up that courage. That's rough for any kid. Come on.
Right? Imagine having to put a bolt through, like, your brother's head.
Yeah. Younger.
Yeah. And that's when the manifestation happened.
Yeah, he freaking pops out of Georgie's body, like...
Yeah, like one of those...
Transforms.
Like one of those old dinosaur toys that you would throw in the water, and overnight they would turn out to be these humongous fucking things.
I miss those things. Oh my god.
Alright, that's another story.
Okay.
But yeah, I would
note.
play the hell out of those. I used to get like Tyrannosaurus Rexes. True story. One time I put one inside of a fucking bottle and I closed the cap, and then it fucking shattered in the middle of the night when I was sleeping. Water was everywhere.
Holy
and I got my
shit.
ass whooped.
Woo!
Yes. New carpet and those types of things don't mix, folks. But now they were battling Pennywise.
Officially.
And he's taking on all of their different forms trying to fight them. And he's like growing like fucking humongous spider arms, like trying to stab Mike on the floor and shit.
And then turning into that portrait woman for Stanley. Like,
I did love how he ended up taking Bill, and all he wanted was Bill.
Yeah.
And he tried to trick all of them with a bribe. Like,
I just want him.
I'll feast on all of your fears, and kill you, or you give me Bill, and I'll let you all go fucking live your life and fucking pass away in the weeds.
Yeah.
They show Richie, and Richie's trying to almost play it off as if, you know what, like, this sounds like a good opportunity.
Yeah.
You drugged me into all this shit, Bill. You did all this bad shit to me, and now I have to sit here and kill this fucking clown. And then he picks up the bat and then he swings at him, and then that's when the whole crazy ass fight ensues.
Right.
And it is losing all of its power during the entire fight, and it starts transforming into all their fears, trying to see if they're still afraid of them.
Yeah.
But all of it is failing because they are now overcoming not only just him, but all of their fears.
Yeah, it's so deep.
And he even is trying to come at Beverly with her father. And shows, the dad, remember? And he's like, are you still my little girl?
No.
She fucking drop kicks that motherfucker right in his face. And then he's backing more and more up to the well.
Well, he's already, like, in the well, hanging on, like,
Well, he
over.
backflips.
Yeah.
And then grabs the well, and he's staring. And he's trying one last time to get under Bill's skin. He's doing his...
Stutter.
He thrusts his fists against the post, but still insists he sees the ghost. And then Bill...
went like...
Yeah, he flinches forward like he's about to fuck that dude up. And Pennywise is like... Ooh, and starts dropping down. And then they're all looking at him, and he looks up at him as he's fading away, and he goes, fear, and let's go. And you just hear him screaming all the way down. So to them, in that moment, motherfucker's gone.
Yeah.
He's dead. They did it. They're high-fiving. They can't wait to get home and drink some High-C juice boxes, eat some gummy bears, you know, the kiddie shit. They're excited. Then they come out, they all get together and realize that if he were to come back, they were going to have to be the ones that had to kill him again.
They had to make the pact.
So they made a blood oath. And they all slit their hands open, and they were all like, I get queasy watching people cut themselves. I hate that shit.
So do I.
Now, especially on the hands. Fuck, I felt
right
that.
On the palm.
They're all holding each other. They make the oath, and that's the end.
It pretty much. They
of
end
the
it there.
first movie.
They all disperse.
And then it trails into 27 years later. They're all older now, and Mike is beginning to realize that Pennywise is back in the fold, and he's making himself known again. And this is it, chapter 2, where they have that crazy opening sequence.
Oh my god, with the gay guys and the little girl on the bridge. Fuck.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
I hate the whole bullying aspect of it.
Yeah.
Because it makes me want to beat the shit out of the bullies so badly.
But they had to get some type of situation where someone was stranded out there for some reason. And I guess that's how they did it, you know?
And they kicked the hell out of this
couple. Over.
Throw the one guy into the water, and then the other guy dives in to save him. And he's all fucked up, too. And then he realizes that his boy was scooped up by Pennywise on the side of the lake. And then Pennywise looks at him, yeah.
Like, mouth wide open, and boom, takes the heart out. You crazy?
Like an alligator and shit.
Bro, I looked at you, I'm like, oh my god. That's the first scene?
Yeah, they
shit.
did that nicely. But I
so
like
good.
how his mouth, like, even split apart slightly, like the Predator. Like, he had fucking mandibles, or like spider mandibles.
Yeah.
Because he was like a spider creature hidden all that time.
One of your fears.
Oh, I fucking hate spiders.
He would torment you with that shit. You couldn't last, man. You'd really have to face that.
Yeah, that's the truth, though. The minute any spider comes into the equation in my life, I immediately transform into a different human being. Mike now ends up calling all of them individually and telling them that
it's back.
Is back.
Right.
And you can see that they all suffer from some form of amnesia from being away from Derry. Oh, yeah. Ugh. Thank you for that correction, madam.
You're welcome.
Derry. What the fuck?
It's alright. But yeah.
Yeah, and he even makes a reference to it later once all of the adults end up meeting up, that when they go away from Derry, they go through heavy amounts of amnesia and can't remember anything. Yeah. Mike was the only one who stayed.
Yeah.
So since he stayed...
He remembers everything.
He remembered it.
And can I just say, I love the whole dinner scene, them all meeting together. Like, seeing them together again for the first time without any fear or anything that has to deal with it. Just them being kids again. Yeah. It's just such a good feeling.
Kids,
you know?
In adult bodies.
Yeah. They acted the same. It was great.
And the director nailed all that part too, because I felt like it felt real. It didn't feel fake. So, kudos on that. Now, we go through the rest of this movie hearing Mike's plot to all of them on how he figured out that it could be destroyed by this thing
ritual.
Yeah, it's almost like a just some sort of
canister?
Or that this tribe ended up inscribing so that they could do a chanting mantra, and they trapped it inside of it, and that's how they defeated it in the past.
Right. And he forces, I think it was Bill, to see that with a hallucinogenic drug, and honestly, that was a little whack. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
Not cool, but he had to do it.
Yeah.
And he ended up convincing them all to collect an artifact of their choice that's meaningful to them and bring it there. So that's when they start dispersing and experiencing it again separately.
Yeah, and then you go through all like the scenes of all the shit that they have been through, and during that time that the Losers Club broke up.
Yes, exactly. They go back into those flashback scenes, and man, it's just so well done how they connect the two. Like,
yeah, and I did like how you find out more about Richie's character.
Oh, yeah.
And you find out that he has a crush on Eddie.
Yeah.
And he's had a crush on Eddie for like his entire life. And that was his secret. And then it even is chanting to him. I know your secret. Your dirty little secret.
That scene was so good.
Yeah. All the memory that he had before that, though, what threw him even into that whole trance-like state is he was looking up and remembering him as a child during the breakup of the Paul Bunyan statue coming to fucking life and chasing him down, trying to slaughter him.
Right.
Whoa. That was cool as shit.
That was a cool scene, too.
I wasn't ready for that.
No,
I
me
think
neither.
that's when you even looked at me and you were like, what the fuck?
Like,
This movie is crazy. I was like, yeah,
he
I
did
know.
all the unexpected things. Oh my gosh! The one scene that really irked my soul was when Beverly went back home. And that old lady going in between the rooms in that dark-ass apartment. Oh my gosh!
And shit that you didn't notice, probably. The old lady ends up going off into a separate room, and Beverly goes back into her room. She pops open the floorboard, and she grabs that Autumn Embers card that Ben wrote for her as her thing that she was going to burn.
And she still didn't know it was Ben at that point, right?
Well, no, she did, because remember when they kissed?
Oh, yeah.
And True Love's kiss brought her back to life.
That was
because
a little cheesy. But yeah.
But hey, it's what you're taught when you're a kid. True Love's kiss defeats the evil magic.
But yeah, she got that and the cigarettes.
And you remember they said to each other in that moment, she looked at Ben and said, Autumn Ambers, and he said, my heart burns there too.
Mm-hmm. So she got the card and everything, and they're back in the house.
Oh, yeah.
And that scary-ass lady comes
and she comes trudging in with her fucking floppy sandbag titties from hell. What in the hell was that shit? Yo, that broke the hell out of me.
That was at that point where I was like, oh my god, this movie's crazy. How are they doing this? Like, why would they even put anything like that in there?
What was really cool was when she escaped.
Yeah.
And she gets out the front door, she turns around and the house was all broken down.
Oh yeah, like it didn't look like what she imagined it to.
Well, when she first walked up, it looked like her house and it was still in operation, like somebody was living there. But then when she came out, she realized that it was giving her that visual.
The fact that Pennywise can even alter someone's entire environment, not only be a fear, but alter what they see in that moment is just physical. Nuts. Yeah, and physically.
Like feeling it and shit.
He has so much power.
Hell yeah.
It's crazy. So good, though. Oh, I keep saying that, but I mean it. Like, this movie is great.
I just love both movies to death.
Yeah, me
too. I'll wait to give my overall rating on the movies.
We'll go over the ending of the second one. And
they all end up meeting up after they got their little trinkets.
Yes, yeah.
And they end up redoing this process that supposedly beat him before.
Right.
But mind you, if it beat him before, why the fuck is he there?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's a red flag to me.
Of course.
If I'm talking to Mike, I'm like, Mike, your story is bullshit.
Right?
I found a hole. We're dealing with him still.
Use logic here, man.
Yeah. You find out that Mike left out most of the truth about it. That the Indians or the tribe who initially tried to stop him failed drastically. He came out, slaughtered all of them, and now we're left here trying to redo what already failed once in the past. And Mike thought that because they believed more and they were a stronger group, that they could overcome what the tribe was incapable of doing back in the past with the same exact ritual.
Right.
And Pennywise made sure to make him realize, hey, dipshit, It failed once, and it's failing again.
You ain't gonna do it this time around.
I'm gonna whoop that ass.
And it failed. It didn't work. He manifested from the ground? I can't remember how that happened, but
yeah, just the balloon ended up blowing up out of the basket,
and then boom, he was there.
Fucking exploded, and they all flew backward.
Yeah.
And then Pennywise comes up as that humongous spider.
Yeah.
No.
That was nuts. Wait, but then Eddie saw the flashing, the lights.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, oh, wait. No, it wasn't Eddie. It was, man, who was it? Someone was looking at the lights, and Eddie had the arrow, remember?
Yeah.
That he ended up throwing and went directly into his mouth.
Yeah, and then that is when he began to lose his power because Eddie was showing again that he was not afraid of it, and the less that you fear it, the more it loses its power. Grasp.
Yeah.
And it began to shrink, and that's when they had a better chance. And they started fighting it, and then Mike realized the only way that you can beat it was to bully it, was to put it down.
Yeah.
And talk fucking shit against him.
You are nothing.
Yeah, so they all start bullying the hell out of him. Yeah. He shrinks down because now he's doubting himself so much.
Yeah.
And he's trying again, just like when they were kids, to use little bits of their fear, and none of it is scaring them anymore.
Nope.
And finally, he gets so small, and he's down in the corner that they could see his heart pulsing.
Mm-hmm.
So they grab his heart, and they all grab hands together.
Yup.
Simultaneously squeezing and crushing his heart, and then he fades away, and all of the three lights that are hovering above end up...
Go back up, right?
Well, they end up, like, coming together, and it's showing that they are, like, just, like, exploding. You know what I mean? Like,
it doesn't go back up in the sky?
It's not that it like fades out.
Oh,
but
okay.
It's like exploding.
I forgot. Right.
And then all of the cave around them starts to crumble, so they had to rush out and leave their friend Eddie to die.
Who got hurt in the middle of all that. Oh my god, that was so hard. And for Richie, oh my god.
Yeah, because Richie was in love with him, so he ended up losing his love interest.
Yeah.
They end up climbing out of the house. The house kind of does the whole poltergeist feel where the whole house sucks down into the middle and ends up just being completely obliterated and destroyed.
It left you feeling so empty. There was so much darkness to it. And we didn't even mention the whole fact of Stanley killing himself. Even before...
Oh, yeah, I know.
That was so
way
dark.
In the first movie, too.
No, that was in the second movie.
Oh, yeah,
in the beginning.
In the beginning of the second movie. Because
he didn't want to face him again. And there was just a dark theme throughout the entire movie, right from the get-go. And, I mean, they just finished it well.
Man, how upsetting was it when they read Stanley's letter?
Oh, my God, yeah, at the end, right?
Yeah, and shit crushed.
That brought tears to my eyes. That was when I started crying.
That was super emotional, only because you're like, God damn, this thing affected my man so much. He knew that he would fail if he were to come, because he was the weakest link as a child.
Yeah, he was.
And he would have been the absolute failure to the group. So he took himself out.
Sad.
And that's why even at the dinner table, made that fortune cookie message that was
Stanley.
hid. I guess Stanley couldn't cut it. And he was taking a slice, no pun intended, at the fact that he slit his wrists.
Right.
Deep. Very dark.
Like, that really got me crying.
So, I mean, this movie hit on a whole bunch of different levels of emotion.
Heartstrings.
I was very, very happy with the outcome of this movie.
I was too.
What I don't like is that there are a lot of people out there that think that in this movie they rehashed over the weaknesses of the children again and didn't get into the characters anymore so. But what it really was doing was showing the fact that Pennywise was trying so hard to get them all back together because he wanted to have a chance at redemption, to destroy them, since they destroyed him as a group. And he even said it to him. He said to them out loud, "I've been waiting for you for so long." Like, he couldn't wait to have another whack at these motherfuckers. And they beat him again. Now, with the whole him playing on their fears, trying to bring back up their fears as a child.
Right.
They were now older and capable of beating those fears.
Exactly.
Because they were no longer the same fears that they had, and they were far stronger in their adult years now due to the fact that they had to deal with Pennywise in the past.
Exactly.
But Pennywise was still only stuck on what they were initially afraid of, so he knew that's how he was at least trying to attack him.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
And they just kept beating all of his same tactics.
Exactly.
And that's ultimately why he failed.
Yeah.
So, with all of this being said, from both of those movies, if you had to pick your favorite part in both of those movies at all,
goodness,
your favorite part, and you have two movies to take a favorite
overall,
part from.
In both movies, I have to pick one.
Yeah, one favorite scene of yours. I'll narrow it down even more so. Your favorite aspect of, it could be the second movie, it could be the first movie. It's just something about it that drove the story further and made it have more depth. What part stuck out to you the most, or what storyline?
Just the chemistry of the children in itself. I mean, I think that is the best part and the only thing that keeps the story going, because I mean, that is the main aspect. But I love that they have their conflicts and they have their own fears and they come together to face it together.
Yeah.
And that is just so powerful, just having friends and friendship and just knowing that you're never alone, and being alone, or you're better off not being alone. You can face your fears with help. Yeah. And it's so powerful, and definitely one of my favorite aspects of the movies.
Okay. I think one of the greatest aspects that gets overlooked, and we did not bring it up, is Henry Bowers. Because it was capable of utilizing the hatred from Henry Bowers.
Yeah.
And after Henry was beaten and kicked down the well in the first movie, when he was trying to kill them, because it warped his mind, made him kill his father, made him go back and try to kill the kids.
Yeah.
Mike ended up checking his ass down the well. You thought he died in the first one, and then they show you that he was alive in the river.
Right.
He got arrested, taken to the mental institution. His zombified fucking friend who died in the first one.
That was nuts.
Even how his friend died getting eaten by zombie chicks.
The fact that he came back, though, to, like, drive him around, come on.
But that was badass.
It was!
I loved it. And he gives him his knife back. So then it was using him to terrorize the older versions of these children and try to kill them one by one to lessen their power. if he was capable of killing them, then it would have had a better chance to survive. So it was using him as like a secret weapon.
Yeah. And that was another aspect that affected their chemistry.
And that's why I loved his character in this too. And I loved seeing Richie drive a fucking tomahawk through the back of his head.
That was intense.
It made me feel good because I couldn't wait until he was fucking killed.
So true. He was annoyance. But an important aspect to the movie for the children and Pennywise.
Yeah, because it tied a lot of it together. So
that's
why I thought that he was an unsung part.
Yeah.
That was very integral in that entire story.
So true.
With everything that we have now gone over, madam, if you were to give a 10-star rating, what would be the rating of It and It Chapter 2?
The first It is a 9.
Ooh.
Woo!
You finally got over that 0.5.
Well, It Chapter 2, 9.5.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to rate anything 10 yet, only because I'm still watching horror movies, but goddamn, that was the best one so far. It was so good.
Why do you rate It Chapter 2 higher than It Chapter 1?
Because it hit my emotions a lot harder. And it also tied the first movie into it. It just felt...
like the perfect connection.
It did.
Just
and
like-
it was the ending, man. Like, it's sad, but also feels good because it's over. And yeah.
All right.
What about you?
Now, I would definitely say that It Chapter 1, I would probably give a 10.
Ooh, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, because I've seen and fell in love with the original Stephen King's It so much. And then this one knocked it out of the park so much that it destroyed
Stephen King's
like
version.
Any of Stephen King's version when it comes to the cheesiness of Stephen King's version. It kind of like brings it to light.
Now, what about the second one?
The second one, I'm going to have to follow suit and then give it a 10 as well because I think both of them were just done so well.
They really were.
And they played off of each other so well. And it is, even though they're both long watches, I could binge watch them back to back.
So true.
And then next week, I could binge watch them back to back again and not get bored.
Yeah.
Because I fucking love that. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Pennywise, I love you. No, but truthfully,
oh my God, that's
they
good.
did a great job.
They really did.
So, after we were done watching It Chapter 2, and I knew that we were going to start doing this little talk, I started thinking to myself. I said, self,
What's next?
what the fuck is next? And then I looked at myself in the mirror because I tend to do this a lot. I decided that we should watch The Blair Witch Project because you told me you have not seen
I have not.
The Blair Witch
goodness.
Project.
And I've heard that it's scary.
And I'm not going to tell you anything about
Don't.
it except for it is a documentary.
Right. It's a true story, right? It happened in real life.
You're going to see.
Oh, gosh. Wait, like it's the actual, like, tapes?
You're going to see.
Oh, shit. Y'all better get ready.
No, you better get
I
ready.
mean,
They all
that was
probably
me
fucking
telling
saw
myself
it.
that?
They were like, what?
No, I
She
mean,
hasn't seen this? Ooh, this is going to be good.
they had to get ready about us talking about it. Because they know I ain't ready.
So,
Oh, man.
I hope that you all
Excited.
enjoyed our little banter
I hope so.
about It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2. And remember, they all float down here. So stay safe, sleep well, and keep your wits about you.